What ho chaps, how's it going? I had to make a video about this today. Everyone needs something funny to read during a pandemic. I know that sounds terribly heartless, but you have to laugh in these situations, right? If you don't laugh, you'll cry. So let's just have a chuckle at this. Essentially, the story is, drink bleach, blame Trump. It says, Trump kept saying it was basically pretty much a cure. A woman whose husband died after ingesting chloroquine tells the public not to believe anything that the president says. For those that don't know, chloroquine was one of the many that we got given as an anti-malarial. One of them I remember when I was in Sierra Leone was called Lariam, and Lariam basically makes you have terrifying nightmares that you're getting raped by demons from hell, and then brings on a deep depression. I didn't get the depression, but I definitely had some fucked up dreams when I was taking it, and it was later linked, as this story shows, to dozens of suicides. Lariam said people who've taken it said it should not be available because of its serious side effects. It's been fucking prescribed to thousands of army personnel, obviously, because there's the great British guinea pig. It fucks you up. Anti-malarial tablets. So anyone who isn't a fucking imbecile knows that you do have to do your research before you start self-medicating. And I'm sorry to say, if you don't know that you shouldn't just randomly take fucking drugs, regardless of whether or not a politician says so, I'm sorry to say that you do have the intelligence of a flip-flop, and you're probably doing the world a favour by fucking expiring. If anyone doesn't know, that's what an anti-malarial does. So if it's being used to kill parasites, you've got to assume that it's got some form of side effects that could kill other things other than the parasites, because they don't kill them with tickles or kindness. They fucking kill them, and they have to use a mechanism to kill them. The other obvious thing to point out would be, if the fuckers died from taking anti-malarials, he must have took massive quantities. Like, it says on the fucking pack. I'm not saying you have to go on Google. I'm not saying you have to even check WebMD, something hard. It says on the packet. I remember getting them issued, and you go, oh, look at this. And you take one a week. You don't even take it daily. So for this fucking maniac to have melted his insides, I don't know how much he took, but he gave up on reading the box. That's for fucking sure. Says the wife of an Arizona man who died after ingesting chloroquine to protect himself from the coronavirus urged the public not to believe anything the president says. So you drink bleach, and that means we can't believe anything he says. Banner Health said the man and his wife consumed a version of the chemical that's used to clean aquariums. Yeah. Yeah, so it's fucking bleach. We saw Trump on TV, every channel, and all of his buddies, and that this was safe. Trump said it was pretty much a cure. The president also repeatedly touted the pharmaceutical version as very powerful and falsely claimed it was approved. He definitely didn't do that. She said, oh my God, don't take anything. Don't believe anything that the president said. Don't, let me tell you. Do take something, but read the fucking box, you absolute fuckwit. And that's not some grand revelation, is it? Read the box. Do what the doctor tells you. Don't take enormous quantities of pills for no reason. There's no conclusive evidence it's effective. That's true, there isn't, not yet. He is repeatedly touted as very powerful. No, he said it could possibly be a very powerful treatment, and he wanted permission for people to use experimental drugs. And he did that ages ago. Remember this? It was right to try. The president signed legislation so terminally ill patients could use experimental drugs that may help their condition. That's what he's talking about.
President Trump makes it official, signing a bill giving terminally ill patients the right to try experimental treatments. Critics say the measure could be dangerous, but the president says it's a basic freedom that offers hope and saves lives. White House correspondent Mark Irons reports. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Lauren. The president says Americans no longer should have to travel to another country to seek life-saving medicine. He says the new right to try law would give people with deadly diseases the ability to gain access to unproven drugs without first getting permission from the FDA.
Now, with the passage of this bill, Americans will be able to seek cures right here at home, close to their family and their loved ones. We are finally giving these wonderful Americans the right to try.
President Trump says countless patients don't have the time to wait for the Food and Drug Administration to approve new medicines because the process often takes 3 to 7 years. He says this new law provides hope.
Patients with life-threatening illnesses will finally have access to experimental treatments that could improve or even cure their conditions.
The president introduced several families who fought for the law. Laura McClynn's son, Jordan, has muscular dystrophy and is often forced to use a wheelchair. She is grateful patients like her son will now have better access to treatment.
And it just gives us hope that other patients who, have exhausted all other options can at least have the opportunity to ask, to have that right to ask to try something that could potentially help them.
I think that all in all, that this is a very positive step.
Dr. Barbara Golder is a Catholic bioethicist. She says the right to try helps restore the doctor-patient relationship.
I really can't emphasize that too much, because one of the things that's happened with our healthcare is that decisions are being driven by people other than doctors and patients. And I think that to the extent that we move away from that, we move away from the Catholic understanding of how healthcare is delivered.
Right, that's what they're talking about. The right to try. It's not called the right to try anything you want in massive, terrifying quantities. That's not what the bill's called. The right to crunch up anti-malarials and snort them, like a deranged Wall Street banker doing a gram of coke off a prosy's tits. It's not. That's not the right. It's not the right to snort enormous quantities of fish tank cleaner. That's not the right. It's the right to try. He went on Twitter and said, some encouraging results about an anti-malarial drug. Thanks to the FDA for saying, we can give it a shot. He didn't say, smash all the pills you can find in here. Ransack the house, find pills, eat pills. Pills will fix you. Says the FDA came out with a statement after Trump's comment saying it had not approved chloroquine for the coronavirus and that more research had to be done. Did you at any point hear that the FDA had not approved of it for coronavirus purposes? Hilliard asked the woman. Yeah, she said. But, they kept saying it was approved for other things. Yeah, but they didn't say, smash 90 pills into you over 2 days, you fucking maniac. That's what her message to America was after what her and husband went through. The woman said, oh my God, don't take anything. Anything. Water, oxygen, frosted flakes, nothing. Please educate the people, she added. It feels like my heart is broken and it'll never mend. My husband is 68, we're healthy. No underlying, no diabetes or lung issues, nothing. You melted them with bleach, you fucking mad cunt. There's nothing wrong with my lungs, but a few pints of Clorox would soon put pay to that. Fuck me. Anyway, there's that. I just had to cover that. Fuck me. So they still haven't mentioned how much she took. I'd love to know. Because I've took loads of anti-malarials. I don't think even taking a couple would fuck you up. But it is clearly marked on the box. The dosages are clearly marked on all these drugs. You don't need to check the internet. You don't need to talk to a doctor. You don't need to do anything. If you're an extreme sports enthusiast and you love belting fucking experimental drugs into you for weird purposes that weren't intended for, you probably could get away with it if you had an iota of common sense. I reckon if I took one of them every day, even though it's like a weekly dose, probably wouldn't kill you. You're going to have had to go to town on them, aren't you? So, instead of blaming the president, look to yourselves. If you can't even read 2 sentences off the back of a box, let alone ask your doctor or do what you should do before you take fucking pills, you can at least read 2 sentences on a box. And if you haven't got the common sense to do that, I'm sorry, but that's not fucking Trump's fault. Getting in the bath with your toaster to enjoy crumpets whilst bathing and then blaming the president when it blows your fucking nutsack off doesn't make sense. I'll give him shit when he deserves it, but ultimately, there's any number of things you could blame the president for when you die. If you don't look both ways across the road, you'll get twatted. Can't blame someone for that. You blame yourself. It's basic common sense to surviving in the modern world. And I would put reading pillboxes and not shoveling mammoth quantities of drugs down your neck for no reason at all. I would put that in the, sorry, you win the Darwin Award and you expired because you're a fucking idiot category. The truth hurts, folks. Sorry about that. And it's sad when anyone dies. But fucking Mungo here has to shoulder the blame himself. Him and his wife. Sorry, darling. If you haven't got the brains you were born with, You can't put that at the door of the president. He's got a lot on. He's got a country to run. He can't go door knocking to check people haven't shoveled mammoth quantities of bleach down the fucking neck. And the Business Insider, again, criminally bad reporting, notably one-sided, fucking ridiculous. No mention of any of the common sense measures that normal humans take to ensure that they don't drug themselves up to the eyeballs or commit suicide using relatively innocuous tablets. Anyway, done. That's the short version. Don't self-medicate, folks. And if you insist on doing it, read the fucking box, for fuck's sake.